Unit 3. It was painted by a street artist. Vocabulary. Look at the photos. What kind of art do you see? Write the correct letter. Then listen and check your answers. 1,
C. Still life.
2,
H. Mural.
3,
F. Abstract painting.
4,
B. Portrait.
5,
A. Sculpture.
6,
D. Landscape.
7,
E. Drawing.
8.
G. Installation.
Conversation. Complete the conversation. Then watch and check your answers. Practice the conversation with a partner.
I like that painting. What do you think, Diana?
It's a little abstract for my taste. Can you imagine that in your home?
Yes, it's very colorful.
But look at the price. It's kind of expensive.
It was painted by Hamish Guthrie. He's becoming quite famous.
Hello. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. Painting by Hamish Guthrie is definitely a good investment.
Who is Hamish Guthrie? I've never heard of him.
Oh, well, he's a big topic of conversation in the art world these days. He has been called the master of color.
Interesting. You must go to a lot of art exhibits.
I do. Actually, this is my gallery, so it's my job to discover new talent. And Guthrie is one of my greatest finds.
Language practice. Passives. Passive.
It was painted by Hamish Guthrie.
Active.
Hamish Guthrie painted it.
Passive.
His paintings are enjoyed by millions of people.
Active.
Millions of people enjoy his paintings.
Passive.
Was that done by a famous artist?
Yes, it was. No, it wasn't.
Active.
Did a famous artist do that?
Yes, she did. No, she didn't.
Passive.
Who was that sculpture made by?
It was made by Michelangelo.
Active.
Who made that sculpture?
Michelangelo made it.
Pronunciation. Reduction of don't and did. Listen. Notice the reduced sounds of don't and did when followed by you. 1. Unreduced.
Don't you go there often?
Reduced.
Don't you go there often?
2. Unreduced.
Did your father make this?
Reduced.
Did your father make this?
3. Unreduced.
Why did you paint that?
Reduced.
Why'd you paint that?
Listening. Listen to the guided tours of 3 museums in different parts of the world. Match each guided tour to the correct photos in Activity 1. Write the correct letter. 1.
Welcome to the Hakone Open Air Museum. The museum was opened in 1969, and it is still one of the few open-air museums in Japan. It was designed to show sculpture in a beautiful outdoor setting. Today, you will see works by important artists from Japan and around the world. As you walk through the garden, notice that you can move all the way around the art and how the hills and forests that surround the sculptures affect your experience. What makes this museum unique is the way the seasons change the sculptures. As you go around the corner to exhibit one, you will see a figure face down in the grass. Think about how the grass changes your feelings about the figure. Perhaps it looks cool and peaceful to you on a summer day. Imagine how different it might look in winter when the figure is lying face down in the snow. The art here is child-friendly. If you are with children, make a stop at the Woods of Net. This sculpture is for all ages, but as you enter the sculpture, you will see colorful hanging nets and happy children climbing in them.
2.
Your tour starts outside the Museum of Pop Culture. This unique building is a great place to learn about modern architecture, rock music, science fiction, and technology. Let's start outside the building. Here in the northwestern corner of the United States, the seasons change often, and so does the position of the sun. See that bright pink color in the morning light? In the afternoon, it may change to purple. The architect Frank O. Gehry did this on purpose. He wanted to capture the energy and wildness of rock and roll music. Notice those curved walls? They are meant to remind you of an electric guitar. As you go inside, you will enter the most important part of the museum called the Sky Church. It's an enormous space with a huge LED screen, and it's the center of activity. Here you can watch films of historical concerts to get yourself in the mood to learn more about pop culture. In the next room, notice a giant spiraling tower made of more than 500 guitars. It is about 2 stories tall, and it looks as if a tornado is pulling the instruments up into the air. Move through the exhibit to
3.
Welcome to the National Museum of Anthropology. This is the largest and most visited museum in Mexico. It is special because it has the biggest collection of art and history from pre-Hispanic times. Everything you will see today comes from the time before the Europeans arrived.
When was that?
The first Europeans came in the 16th century. Before their arrival, people had been developing art, science, and culture for more than 10,000 years.
Wow, that's a long time. What kind of science?
They studied the stars, and they were good at math. In fact, we'll see the famous Aztec calendar today. It is more accurate than the modern calendar, yet it was made 600 years ago.
And art?
Follow me and I'll show you some. We are going to start with these giant stone heads. They were made by the Olmec people 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. Most of the heads are taller than a human and can weigh about 40,000 kilograms.
Wow, that's heavy.
Yes, and we still aren't exactly sure how they move them.
Listening Plus. Listen to a casual conversation about Brazilian art. Choose true or false.
Hello. Did I hear you say you just got back from Brazil?
That's right. I work for an arts organization, and sometimes I get to travel for work. This was my first trip to Brazil.
I'd love to go to Brazil. My name is James, by the way. I work with Dolores.
Nice to meet you, James. I'm Lisa. I know Dolores from school. She's put on another great party, hasn't she?
Yes, she has. So, going back to your trip, did you visit art galleries and museums in Brazil? Any good ones?
Well, it depends on what you are looking for. I am attracted to Brazilian work, so I started at Pinacoteca in Sao Paulo. It's smaller than the main art museum there, but it supports Brazilian artists.
Did you like it?
Very much. It's in a beautiful old building with lots of light, and they had an exhibit by Ernesto Neto. He makes unusual abstract installations. They really affected me.
Really? How?
Well, they are designed to make people think differently about space. Some shapes hang from the ceiling, and others sort of grow up from the floor. It's hard to describe, but he definitely plays with reality.
Cool. So, did you get to Rio de Janeiro?
Oh, yes. There's lots to see there, especially the street art. I wanted to see Eduardo Cabra's work.
Is he a street artist?
Yes, one of many. Here, let me show you a photo.
Wow, that's huge. It covers the whole block. And so many bright colors.
That mural was designed by Cabra. I think maybe he got some help with the actual painting.
Wow, you know a lot about Brazilian art.
Not as much as I would like. I'm hoping to bring some Brazilian artists here for a group show.
Wow. When you do, I'd like to come see it. You've made me curious.
Reading. French artist turns cities into art galleries.
Around the same time that social media started allowing people to post photos on the internet, a young street artist began using the public spaces in the world's most dangerous cities as art galleries. JR, as he is known, is a street artist who got his start doing graffiti in Paris. One day, he found a camera and started taking photos of people he met on his graffiti expeditions. After the photos were printed, he pasted them onto public walls for anyone to see. In order to make them stand out, he painted brightly colored frames around them. Sometimes the photos were taken down by authorities, but the frames remained. This was the beginning of JR's efforts to display art outside of museums. He was drawn to places of suffering and a desire to bring art to people who did not have it. For one of his projects, he printed giant close-up photographs of people who did the same jobs but lived in enemy countries. Then he pasted them side by side on public walls. When people asked him about them, he said, "Can you tell who is who?" And often, people couldn't match a person with a country. JR's next project was called Women Are Heroes. He took pictures of women who had experienced violence, and he asked men to help paste their images on walls, stairs, and even the roofs of houses. Some of these prints were more than 6 meters tall. Others were printed on waterproof material and used as roofs where they protected people from the rain. JR also inspires others to participate in his projects. He has invited people to send him their own photos. The photos are printed and returned in giant sizes so they can be installed in the photographers' communities. In this way, JR is also inspiring a new generation of artists who can tell their own stories.
As always, thanks a lot for watching. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. And before you go, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and click that tiny bell. And don't forget to check out some of our other videos on the channel. On to the next time.